Welcome back. After. That night, Hannah sleeps well, better than she has for ages. She doesn't wake up with the baby pressing on her bladder and then toss and turn for hours with a mixture of leg cramps and heartburn. Instead, she goes to bed at 10, falls asleep, and stays that way for 8 solid hours. At 6 a.m., something wakes her. She's not sure what, perhaps the central heating coming on. Their boiler is old and often makes strange banging sounds when starting up from cold. Or maybe the milkman in the mews outside, the bottles jingling as his wheels rumble over the cobbles. Whatever it is, it jolts her fully awake, and she can't get back to sleep. After a quarter of an hour of lying there, trying to ignore her increasingly pressing need to pee, she gives up and swings her leg out of bed. It's a chilly morning, still dark outside, and she can almost feel the coming of winter in the air as she passes through the bathroom, her bare feet shrinking from the cold towels. After she makes a cup of tea and brings it back to bed, scooching her cold feet down under the duvet to warm up beside Will's body, he is still asleep, and looking at him now, at his face, unguarded and heartbreakingly vulnerable, she can't believe that she seriously considered Hugh's implication last night. There has got to be some misunderstanding, some innocent explanation. Clothes was modern, well insulated, not like the old buildings, in the rest of the college. A faint muffled sound traveling through the concrete? What does that prove? It's not like Hugh actually saw Will. And yet, Hugh is Will's best friend, and the memory of the anguish in his voice makes Hannah shiver for a moment, in spite of her warmth of the bed. Would he really have said what he did if he wasn't sure? She needs someone who can back up Will's story, reassure her that he left Somerset when he said he did. But who? Will's sister wasn't there that weekend. As far as she knows, his mother is under chemotherapy for the third time, and his father's memory is increasingly shaky. She can hardly ring up this frail, aging couple and demand to know what time their son left their house one weekend more than a decade ago. Even if one of them remembered, she would never know for sure if they were telling the truth or protecting Will. The coldness settles around her heart as she realizes the only person who will ever truly be able to tell her the truth is Will. For a moment, she fantasized about waking him up and asking him, his voice saying firmly, "This is ridiculous. I came back Sunday afternoon. You know I did." November's words come back to her, filled with concern. "Please, don't do anything about this until you've spoken to the police." But that was what Hugh was trying to tell her. He was trying to warn her that once she spoke to the police, she would be opening a can of worms she's unable to shut. Fuck. She put the cups down on a bedside table, harder than she meant, so that the tea slops over and the wood makes a loud thunk. And beside her, Will stirs. "What time is it?" His voice is sleepy, loving, and she feels her muscles instantly uncoil, as if his very presence is all she needed to chase away the doubts. Her fear, so real in the silence of a few minutes ago, disappeared, like she's a child turning on a light after a nightmare. 6:30, she whispers, and he groans and slides his arm over what used to be her waist, cradling her bump. 6:30? You shitting me? On a weekend? Couldn't you sleep? "It's good practice," she says, laughing, "for when the baby comes." She doesn't want to say, I couldn't sleep because I was spiraling into a stupid, dark fantasy that you were April's killer. Now, with Will's arm around her, the words seem absorbed. "Well, let's practice something," he murmurs, his lips warm and soft against the ticklish skin of her side, and Hannah slides down beneath the duvet, and somehow the heat and the comfort and the reassuring feel of Will's skin against hers succeed in driving out the demons. For a while, at least. Excuse me. Excuse me. Afterwards, Will makes coffee for them both, and Hannah yawns and stretches, working out the kinks the long train journey yesterday left in her spine and hips. What do you fancy for breakfast? Will calls through the other room. What have we got? She hears the sound of the fridge opening. Nothing, basically. I could murder a bacon sandwich, Hannah says. I had an amazing one at the hotel in Oxford, and ever since then, I've had this craving for another. Will comes into the bedroom holding her coffee. I'll go to the shop. You don't have to do that, Hannah says, taking the coffee. I was only thinking out loud. Now you said it. He throws himself down beside her, kisses her cheek. You've got me craving one too. I can't rest now. It's too early. Hannah looks at her phone on the bedside table. It's only 7:15. The Sainsbury Mini Market doesn't open until 8 on Sunday. I'll go for a run, Will says. Get the bacon on my way back. Can you last that long? She smiles. Yes, I can last that long. See you in an hour or so. It take that long to get some bacon? 7:15, they open up at 8. April. After Will is gone, Hannah opens up her book, but she can't settle. As soon as he left, her doubts begin to creep back, like shadows wavering at the edge of a candle's glow, rushing in with the lamp is taken away. Reading doesn't help. Her mind is too full, and in the end, she gives up and heaves herself out of bed. As she opens the wardrobe to grab her clothes, she catches sight of herself in the full-length mirror inside. Without her glasses, everything has a fuzzy, softened quality, but even so, her reflection arrests her and she stands for a moment, side on, just looking at the alien shape of her belly, at the reddish stretch marks creeping around from her hips. The air is chill in spite of the radiator, and the baby quivers inside her. It's impossible for her child to be cold, but still, Hannah shivers in sympathy and pulls on a t-shirt and sweatpants. In the kitchen, she makes herself another coffee, decaf this time, and sits by the window, looking down the street, chewing her thumbnail. It's still almost dark, and she imagines Will running alongside the road past the park, the pavement wet and slick with overnight rain, the reflective stripes on his running jacket shining back at the cars as they pass. At the thought of him running through the morning darkness to get the bacon that she was craving, her heart hurts. How can she be having these thoughts? This is Will, who wrote to her month after month, year after year, even when she was too sad and broken to reply. Will, who came to find her in Edinburgh and is doing so turned the city from a place of exile into a home. Will, who she argued with over flat-pack furniture and laughed with over bad films, and shared 1,000 candlelit dinners with, from a single pot noodle in their very first flat to Michelin-starred restaurants on their honeymoon. This is Will, whose child she is carrying. And yet, in the silence of the flat, she cannot stop thinking of few words. This is worse than any of her sleepless nights over Neville, because whichever way this falls out, she is a terrible person. If Will has been hiding something from her for all these years, she is married to a liar and maybe a murderer. But if he's innocent, what kind of wife does that make her? One willing to believe the man she loves might be a killer just because of a few sounds in the night? She has to find out one way or the other. But the thought of confronting Will on such a tiny shred of proof makes her feel sick. Were you in Pelham College the night April died? She just can't imagine saying the words, destroying her marriage on the basis of something Hugh may or may not have even heard. Then it comes to her, Ryan. Ryan's room was on the other side of Will's. There was a strong chance he would have seen or heard Will arriving. And if Ryan remembers Will turning up at 4 p.m. that Sunday with his rucksack on and his rail car in his pocket, well, that is all the proof she needs that Hugh was mistaken. Hannah glances at the clock on her phone, 7:35. Early, but not ridiculously so, not for someone with two small kids. She opens up WhatsApp, sends Ryan a message. Are you awake? Can you talk? I need to ask you something. There's a pause. The minutes tick by. Hannah goes into the bedroom to get dressed, but between every garment she finds herself checking to see if the 2 ticks had gone blue, showing Ryan read her message. 10 minutes later, she is fully dressed, but they still remain stubbornly gray. Any time is good, she adds, not because it's true, but just to make his phone ping again in the hopes that it will attract his attention. And this time it works. After a couple of seconds, the check marks go blue and typing appears at the top of the screen. Sure, is now good? We're heading out to the park in a bit. Hannah pulse quickens. Now is great, she texts back. She glances at the clock, 7:51. Will can't be back before 8:10 at the absolute earliest, even if he's queuing at the door at 8 o'clock. Shall I call you? Hang on, Ryan texts back. Give me 2 secs. I'll phone you. Hannah goes back into the kitchen and waits. Her heart is thumping. Her fingers are numb and cold. Her mouth tastes of metal. She paces up and down, staring at the screen. And then at 7:56, her phone rings with a jangle that makes her jump and drop it, clattering to the tiles with a crack that sounds deeply ominous. Swearing, she crouches past her bump and picks it up. There's a long silvery fissure across the screen with a shadow of something dark that seems to be seeping out across the LCD display, but it still works when she presses to accept the call. Ryan? Her voice is breathless. Hey, up, Hannah Jones. She can hear cartoons in the background, Bella's voice yelling at the girls to finish up their wet Weetabix. How's things, pet? Good. She wants to talk, procrastinate, put this off, but she can't afford to. Will could be home very soon. She needs to spit this out. They can chat afterwards, if. But she can't think about that. Ryan has to give her the answer she's hoping for. He has to. Listen, Ryan, I have a weird question. Is it about how wheelchair sex works? What? She laughs at that, not meaning to, but so nervous that it comes out like a burst of hysteria. Ryan, she hears Belle shouting from across the room. I dare say you think you're very funny, but the girls can hear you, you know, and you won't think it's so funny when they're trotting that question out at nursery. Sorry, Ryan says, and she can hear the suppressed laughter, the old piss-taking, provoking Ryan in his voice. Ignore me, carry on. What was it you wanted to ask? It's about, she swallows. She feels suddenly sick. Ryan's friendly banter has somehow made this even harder. How can she explain what this means? It's about that night when April died. Ryan says nothing, but she senses rather than hears his nod down the phone. Someone told me. She hears April's voice in her head, clear as if she was standing next to Hannah, fixing her with that icy blue gaze. Spit it out. Someone told me that Will was in college that night, she says in a rush, that he wasn't in Somerset. Did you hear him come in? What? Ryan sounds stunned. Whatever he was expecting, it plainly wasn't this. But what difference does it make? April was alive when Neville went up the stairs and dead when she came down them. When what? I got to read that again. Sorry, y'all. April was alive when Neville went up the stairs and dead when she came down them. It must have been he when he came down them. There's no one else could have done it. You were the one who testified to that. I forgot he got an accent too. Ryan, she's trying to keep her voice calm, but there's an edge of desperation that she knows Ryan must be able to hear. Look, I don't have time to go into it right now, but all I want to know is, did you see Will come home that night? Did you hear anyone in his room? His alibi for April's death hinged on him not being in Oxford that night. Can you back that up or can't you? Ryan's voice sounds uncertain. I don't know. I'd need to think. I didn't see him come in. I guess the first time I saw him was coming out the shower around lunchtime. Lunchtime on Sunday? She tries to think. How long would it take to get from rural Somerset to Oxford on a Sunday? Lunchtime is pushing it, but just about possible, she guesses. And before that, did you hear anyone in his room? The police banged on his door, Ryan says. He sounds bewildered now. I had to tell them he was away for the weekend. But they didn't go in, right? They didn't actually check his room was empty? No, they didn't go in. And did you hear anything? Anything after you've gone to bed? I don't know, Ryan says. He sounds utterly bewildered, his usual joking manner quite gone. Hannah, what's this about? She closes her eyes. A wave of such faintness and nausea is sweeping over her that she has to hold on to the windowsill. I'll call you back, she says. I'm sorry, Ryan, I have to go. She hangs up. She turns around. Will is standing in the doorway. Ooh, Will is in the doorway, so he heard her ask everything to Ryan. Ugh. So now he knows she suspects him for real, and she's not giving it up. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. After. Will. The voice that says his name sounds strange in her own ears, not her own strangled harsh. How long have you been there? Long enough. His face is expressionless. He's holding his running jacket in one hand and a packet of bacon in the other. Automatically, she glances at the clock. It's 7:59. Wait a second. I thought she said the store opened up at 8. How he get bacon so fast? You're not supposed to be back yet, she manages. A G saw me waiting outside. He opened up early. Oh God, she feels sick. How much did he hear? What the fuck is going on? He says, and his voice is flat and yet somehow colder than she could ever have imagined Will sounding. Will, her husband, the man she loves with every fiber of her being. Even the fibers that phone Ryan to check up on his alibi, whispers her subconscious, but she pushes its accusations away. A sob is rising inside her. This cannot be happening. Do you think I killed April? He says now, dangerously calm. She shakes her head. Tears are starting in her eyes. No, that's not what it sounded like. He puts the bacon on the counter very, very gently and takes a step towards her. She starts to shake. No, Will, no, I never thought that. If that's true, why the fuck didn't you just ask me? He shouts, and now there's a vein throbbing in his forehead. Hannah wants to throw up. Will, please. It comes out like a long whimper of fear, and she sees something flash in his eyes, but she cannot read it. Is it anger? Contempt? Hate? Ask me, he says, coming closer. She has always loved his height, his lean muscle bulk, the way his body makes her feel safe and cocooned. Now she sees it from the other side. She sees the way he could pick her up with one hand by the throat and pin her against the wall. Ask me, he shouts, his spit hitting her face, and she flinches in spite of herself. Ask me if I killed April. Hannah's heart is thumping. Her vision is beginning to crack and fragment like static spreading across a television screen. She knows she is breathing too fast, and yet she can't stop. Think of the baby. And then something stills inside her. It's as if she has been in a hurricane, and suddenly the eye of the storm is passing over, and that strange calm settles for a moment upon her. Her vision clears. Her heart slows. Did you kill April? She says, every syllable clear and deliberate. What do you think? Answer the question. You told her to ask you, so answer the question. He says, then he laughs. That's psycho right there. In that moment, all the blood seems to drain from her body, leaving her numb and chill as stone. She stands there staring at him, unable to believe what she just heard. She was so sure, so certain that he would say no. She is still staring, horrified, mesmerized, when her phone rings, making her jump convulsively. Who's that? The police. Will says. His voice is ice cold, golden, and cruel. November's voice flickers through Hannah's memory again. Please don't do anything about this until you've spoken to the police. Oh God, she has been so stupid. Hannah, Will says. He takes a step towards her. She takes a step back. The phone is still ringing. It's on the counter within hand's reach. Aren't you going to answer it? Hannah's heart is beating so fast and hard she can feel it in her wrist, in her neck. The baby wriggles inside her. Will is between her and the door. She has been so stupid. She takes another step back towards the window, not breaking eye contact with Will. And with her free hand, she gropes blindly for the phone, never losing Will's gaze as she grabs it. He takes a step forward. She takes another step back. He takes another step forward. She is backing into a corner and she knows it. But if she can just get him to take one more step forward, she takes one more step back. He takes one more step forward. And Hannah runs. Will swears, but that last step has put the kitchen table between him and the door, while giving Hannah a clear line. She runs barefoot out of the kitchen, down the hallway and down the stairs, hearing a thumping clatter as Will tries to follow and trips over one of their kitchen chairs. Out in the street, the cobbles are bitterly cold under her feet and wet from the night's rain. And she slips, but then rights herself and runs towards the open end of the mews. Behind her, she can hear Will's feet pounding down the stairs. Her heart feels like it's going to burst. She holds her stomach with one hand as if she can protect her unborn child. She forces herself to run just a little faster down the last few meters of Stockbridge Mews. And then she is out onto the main road, skidding around the corner, the asphalt of council-owned pavement biting into her soles of her feet. She looks wildly up and down the road. A car passes, then another. They are going too fast for her to stop, and they don't spare a glance for a wild-eyed pregnant woman running barefoot down the street. Can she flag someone down, run into a cafe? The nearest one is closed, and she draws a shuddering breath and runs on towards the park. Hannah, she hears from behind her. Will roars of a kind of fury she has never heard from him before. He has rounded the corner onto the main road and is gaining on her. Hannah, what are you doing? She makes her legs work harder, run across the junction without looking, and then another. And then there is a screech of tires and the sound of swearing. Jesus Christ, you trying to get yourself killed? It's a taxi driver. He's leaning out of the window of his cab, his face red with annoyance. You could have killed yourself and the Byron. Hannah just stands for a moment, panting hopelessly, her hands resting on the bonnet of the car. Will can't do anything in front of a taxi driver, surely. but the man is going to drive away. He's going to leave her, and then she looks up and she feels a huge drenching wash of relief. The yellow light on the top of the cab is on. The taxi is for hire. She doesn't wait. She runs around to the side, wrenches open the door just as Will comes pounding up the junction. Drive, she says urgently to the cabbie. That's my husband. We just had a row. A row? The words come out like a sob, and yet is so pathetically understated. A row barely even starts to cover it. I have just found out my husband might be a killer. And yet she can't say it. She can't bring herself to say the words, to make them real. Will is a killer. Will murdered April. If she keeps repeating the words to herself, perhaps she can make herself believe them. Understood, Hen, the driver says sympathetically. Hey, it's a tough one. Where can I take you? Your mammy? Or maybe not, by your accent. Hannah thinks of her mother far away in Dyersworth, several hundred miles south, and tears spring into her eyes. If only she could go back there, fall into her mom's arm, sob out her troubles. But she can't. It's a good 8 hours on the train, more on a Sunday. She has no coat, no shoes. She doesn't even have any money. Apart from Google Pay on her phone, she can hardly take a taxi to southern England. Where can she go? And then it comes to her. Hugh. Hugh will shelter her. Hugh will loan her money as she can buy herself a jacket and some warm boots and figure out her next move. Do you know Great King Street? She asks the driver, who nods. Hey. Thanks. She sinks back onto her seat, feeling her heart slow and her numb feet begin to thaw. Thanks. I'd like to go there. And that's the end of that chapter. She going to the one place that she thinks she is going to be safe. Will and Hugh are cool, right? They good friends, right? So I don't think that's a good idea for her to go to Hugh's house, because Hugh is the one who put all of this in her head in the first place. But let's back this up. Will told her to ask him, right, if he killed April, right? So that meant if he asked her to ask him, he was prepared to answer the question. But no, he chose to be like, what do you think? And then laughs. And then you want to know why she running out the door? I'll be gone too, buddy. Because wrong answer, try again. But not with me right there. Hannah did the right thing. She got up out of there because she saw something in Will that scared the crap out of her. And then you add the fact that he could have killed April. Oh, man, I know her heart was in her toes when he was at the front door hearing her talk to Ryan. And he got bacon for real. But I thought he was going to go for a run. And didn't she say, see you in a couple of hours? Something ain't right, Will. Something ain't right. But, we about to see what's getting ready to happen, because I believe she going to the wrong house. See you in the next chapters. Bye for now.